All right, check, check. Hello, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. Hope you guys are doing all right. Super chats, memberships, ready to go. Sounded like a couple of bucks to get into the chat. Bring me a question. I'll do your one card draw. What have we got? Oh my gosh. We got the 7. We got a 7. We got a magic number 7. What are you chasing right now? What are you feeling like is something you've been chasing for a while that's getting you nowhere? It's a good question to ask ourselves from time to time. How much effort and energy are we putting into something and not getting a return on? You know, there are lots of things that may appear nice and shiny and appealing at first, but then over time, we find that, well, actually, it's not really what we're looking for. And this is a great personal review and introspection to do from time to time. You know, what would you like to experience in your life? What are you aiming yourself towards? What do you think is behind, the desire that you're chasing? Because sometimes it's not actually, we think we're going to get something and then we learn something along the way. I think that's where the most of the growth happens. And we gain the experience, what do they say? Experience is the gold of alchemy, the alchemy of life, right? And so beyond that, there's something on the other side. Now, we may not always know what that's going to be. Sometimes it's just a surprise, isn't it? And we can only guess sometimes. Having foresight into what is coming ahead of us it's a wonderful gift to have, but if we haven't got that, then we work with what we've got, you know. But just, assessing what we've been chasing and what's been appealing to us. Because sometimes the shine, it dies. And when that shine starts to die a little bit, we start to question, why is it that we were even sort of attracted to that thing in the first place? Always valuable. Okay. Oh. What's happening out there? Grateful to have you guys here. I've got a bit of a table rocking here. Oh, here we go. Geez, it's more of the same. More of the same. What are we mixing in our pot? What are we brewing? What are we cooking? What are we making for ourselves? And what are we noticing as we do it? What are we noticing as change in our lives when we shift between sort of let's put a little bit more of this in, let's put a little bit more of that in, let's see what happens. Sometimes we put too much in, but there's a freedom in having the ability to choose and to explore, and that's something worth holding on to, guys. Always be conscious of your availability to explore, the access you have to things that maybe you didn't have before, to try things, to experience what it is to be able to make a change in the world, in your life, in the lives of those around you. This is beautiful. What a beautiful card. Okay. All right, let's try this thing. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's a bit hard to see, isn't it? Can't quite see it unless I move around. All right, let's have a look here. What if I put them down here? Can you see them if I put them here? No, it's blending in. The green screen's doing its job too well. All right, here we go. Let's do 3 cards here. So we're going to talk. So if you're watching right now, this might be for you. So what we have is we have the earth element here, which is pointing towards, in this case, I think it's financial. I'm just going to say that. It could be a bunch of things, but I'm going to say this is financial, okay? So that's the general theme of this reading. Okay, now we have a person in the position who is, who's got a bunch of resources, but they're not sure what to do with it. They're sitting still, they're feeling an energy to do something, but they're not sure. And sometimes this is a card that can come up as a type of a contemplation. Sit with it. Sit with it. Okay, it's a finance related conversation. You're not sure where to move, but there is an energy, there is a desire and an impetus to move, but you're not quite sure which way to go. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes, you know, you're going to be looking around you going, I'm not sure which way to go. Well, it doesn't matter too much because you're going to have to pick something, right? You could put that money in the bank, you could invest it into something, or you could put it into an asset or just go and have a good time. But I'm getting the feeling that when I see something like this is like raw opportunity in the form of cash and cash flow that can be converted into something. And this here is someone who's taking their time. This is someone who has a desire to do something with it. They don't want to sit on it. They're like they're on their horse. They've got their they've got their wherewithal, and they're ready to do something with the thing. You know, so let's have a look at the next card here. Okay, now we have so this might be someone who's like, oh, I'm going to do something valiant with mine. I'm going to build something that I'm going to that I know maybe I'm going to get some pushback on, but I'm going to defend the thing that I'm going to invest myself into. So let's say, I don't know, let's say you want to fund a friend, or you want to maybe build a small thing that can be, or a big thing, doesn't really matter, that may be at odds with other people. It's very hard, not, honestly, as a healer and as a reader, you know, I get flack. You can't get around that. It doesn't matter what you do. Even when I was a music teacher, I would get flack. You'll never please everybody, right? But what I'll say is this, is that whatever you're going to do, you really want to put yourself all in, I reckon. You know, that's what these cards are saying, because, you're going to get pushback, and it's how you manage that pushback that's going to sort of define your character, okay? And it's going to shape you for the future for how you deal with other situations. Because let's be fair, you know, uh, everything is an opportunity for growth. So, okay, so when we have the nature of what we're talking about, well, this is just telling me cash for some reason. Okay, that's an intuitive sort of nudge. This here is a person who wants to do something with it, and this is a person who wants to do something meaningful with it. That maybe they're going to challenge something, or maybe they are wanting to fortify their position, right? You know, sometimes this isn't necessarily a new thing. This is more about the contemplation of what to do with what you got. And this one here is like, okay, I'm onto a good thing. Maybe I don't have that many allies, but I can certainly set myself up to be more fortified and solidified in what I'm doing. So if you're watching this and this is resonating, please give me a like so that, because if that's the case, I'll keep going with this because this is a good one. All right. All right. Let's go here. Oh, okay. Wow, we've got another seven. Geez, it's all sevens at the moment. We've got sevens, double seven. Okay. So following on from the seven of wands, we've got the seven of pentacles. So we're back. So we've got a theme of pentacles here. So there's definitely a cash theme. There's a meaningfulness. And now we have this kind of, all right, I've got a bunch of resources. What am I going to do? And I think that when we start coming into deeper contemplation, because we can see a relationship between these two cards, right? We can see someone who's standing still. They're ready to go. They're going to do something. They're maybe just looking for direction. They want it to be a meaningful venture, not something necessarily that they just do for the sake of doing. But this one here is like, okay, this comes after the fact. So you've reinvested, you've got some new assets, or you've built some new allies or some new structures or systems, and now you're looking at what you've made and you're thinking, okay, I want to make this. Turn that off. I want to make this something that is worthwhile. So we're seeing more of this meaning. Okay, we're seeing more meaning. We've got like, okay, I've got this patch of tomatoes. What am I going to do with it? All right. Oh man, this is wild. More pentacles. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pentacles with a wand in the middle. So we've got earth with fire in the middle, and that is pretty cool because this one here is essentially the fire of the earth element. Okay. Now, when we see a card like this in context of the story that's unfolding here, okay, so we're sitting back in contemplation. So we started off with this, and we're going, okay, I've got some cash, I've got some resources, and then that's the context. Then we're going to sit and think about it for a bit, and we want to do something. And then, of course, it's like, okay, I want to set this up so it's going to be robust, okay? And then what we have is like, okay, I've built some new structures, and now I'm thinking, I want to do two things. For example, I want to do something else while I'm doing this. What I'll say about this is, and let's just keep this to 5 cards, okay? This would be better if it was laid out in a positional spread rather than just doing a sequential type story unfold, just because there's so many pentacles here. But this is just talking about the growth, really. It's just really growth. So if I pick one more card to sort of encapsulate it, and by the time we get to this point, somebody's decided to sort of split and maybe branch out and juggle a couple of things at once. Okay, so one thing became two. That's the beauty of these things, right? So, you know, check this out. We're back to wands. So here we go, wands, back to wands. If you're watching this and you are curious about finances, or if you feel a resonance with this, there's a good chance that you're going to have flourishing opportunity just present itself. And you're going to, here's the thing though, right? It's going to be, there's going to be some resistance, and this is literally like standing your ground. Like this person is literally fending off the wands that are trying to take him off his perch there. But when we get to this one here, this is about essentially just go do it. Don't stop thinking about it. You've already done plenty of contemplation. Now it's time to take action. Okay. So, you know, if you think about any time in your life when you've just waited too long and then the energy's died off, that's what that is. Okay. When you get a card like this pop up, this is an action card. Okay. There's no people on this card. This is just about pure action, energy in motion. Okay. Right. That's cool. All right. That's a good one. All right. Hey, Zohar Zen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Feel free to put a question in. Great to see you here, Zohar Zen. Right. So, okay, let's just keep going random here. So let's go for something like this. Okay, my gosh, pentacles. We are talking the unfoldment of far out. This is like, if you're watching this and you're thinking about money, or you're thinking about resources, or you're thinking about how to position yourself in a sense of status, okay, this is a great chance to just, I tell you what, just let me keep blabbing on here and just whittling away at this block of consciousness, that the stream of consciousness that's coming through here. Doodly doo. Okay, here we go. Right, so now we're talking, okay, so if I'm talking about status and I'm talking about resources, okay, and then we see a card like this, a major arcana card, you know, I'm going to jump in and say straight away, this is something important for the development of the deep self. You know, like if you want to build a lasting structure, so we could even say this carries on from the last reading. If you want to build a lasting structure, okay, you know, you got to do your time. You got to I've been doing this with a couple of other things as well. You know, I'm pretty busy here on YouTube and on my Substack and that, It's Phil-osophy.com. Thank you very much. You know, and you kind of got to set yourself up with what would you might say? You got to build your reputation, and you've got to solidify it, and you've got to. I think so. So anyone that's been following me for a while knows that I try a lot of different things out, and I lean into them for a bit. I sort of just see how I feel and sort of see how the world responds, and then I go, oh, I get it. One thing I will say though is consistency and structure. These always pay off. You know, in my previous career as a musician and as a music teacher, you know, like being prepared always paid off. I could show up and do the lessons off the cuff, but and they were fine too. But I've got to say, I like showing up and being prepared, having systems, being practical about my deployment. Okay, so let's say you're watching this feed right now, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Okay, and you've got this, you know, we've got a major arcana popping up here. This could be even becoming a teacher. You know, if you have a body of knowledge and experiential, you know, lived experience and wisdom that you want to share, like this is saying you need to get started. Okay, because a lot of what you're going to do is learn how to speak it and articulate it in a way, and then you're going to reflect back on it. Okay, a lot of the systems we enjoy today took a long time to refine. They didn't just sort of pop out. Now, I'm not saying some of them didn't just pop out, because some teachings do come through that way, but there's been a lot of alchemy of systems over long periods of time to get the things that we enjoy today. People had to sit around and explore and tinker a lot before they got to where they were going. All right. Yes, this will bring you the satisfaction you're looking for. Okay, so here we go. This is wonderful. Look at these three together. Aren't they beautiful? This is kind of saying you want to do something. There's something you want to do, right? If this one's set in the scene, this is about you deciding on how to position yourself and allocate your internal resources. And you're also this is really about, you know, what I'm getting through anyway, is that this is about you, um, I guess becoming more, this feels more status, actually. It feels like more status than resources. And this is definitely status, a status type card, if we just look at it at the face of it, you know. And then of course we have you know, this kind of card of fulfillment, wish fulfillment. And I'm just using some of the classic terms that these cards represent. We don't need to go into this is not a deep esoteric reading here. What we're doing is that we're just saying, look, if you're trying to build something, whether it's yourself or you're trying to build yourself into a network of people and you want to explore a new community or something, this one here will serve you well. Okay, just start sharing your expertise. And this one here is telling you that you can't go wrong. Because if you're getting the feedback and you're working with the feedback, you're reading the comments, you're getting the emails, you know, over time you will refine your process. I think being welcoming of feedback is a great attitude to have. I go through seasons of it personally, because I've been running this channel and a couple of channels for a bit now, and I get a lot of comments and things. So I scoot over them, but I don't always spend time just replying to all of them, because some people aren't even asking questions; they're just making statements. And I'm grateful for everyone, but reality is that I just don't have the time. So, but I'm grateful for everyone. But I mean, as a nutshell, I think that if you're wanting to set yourself up, whoever you are out there, I see we've got a few people on the chat. If you're wanting to set yourself up, oh, yep, here we go. Oh, this one just jumped out for you, Zohar. Oh, geez. I just looked at the thing and then the card jumped out. All right, here we go. Zohar asked a question. Should I leave her? Yeah, that's a tricky one, my friend. That's a tricky one. Because there's nothing like having company. All right, let's do a reading for the bro. Okay, so check this out. Now, unfortunately, as soon as I take my hands away, the table disappears. So if I see something like this, right, I'm seeing that All right, I'm just going to shuffle these ones a little bit more. There's something about the earth element that talks about persistence, right? But there's also like, okay, so we're setting the scene with this fella here. It almost wants to show, doesn't it? This green screen's far too good. It's far too good. All right, here we go. All right, let's just pick a couple more. All right, here we go. All right, so this is not a love card, and the question is relationship oriented. So when I see a pentacle come up for a relationship scenario, this is about persistence, okay, or something getting too old. Because from a time point of view, this is temporally, this is the long game, okay? And maybe, I don't know what the full score is, Zohar Zen, but if something like this is rocking up, I would say that something is either worth maintaining or it's well past its use by date, okay? And that's fine. I think if there's like, what I'm going to say is that the two questions that come to mind is is there an opportunity that for this to grow? Is there a communication? Actually, let's just pull some more on this, okay? So this is an important question. Anytime it's a relationship thing, this is really important, you know, for me. Okay, here we go. Oh, geez, what's going on here? Zohar Zen, you came in when this was in the middle and this one comes out. This one here is like going, I think, you know, you're saying that you don't want to be with her. And then I see this kind of stuff pop up. And this is like, you know, there's fives and there's fives. And there's structure and there's more structure. And I think, you know, in the sense of relationship, you know, what I'm seeing here is rigidity. It's almost like there's an inflexibility here. I would say in this sense, I'm getting, and we'll just see what happens with the third card. Yeah, I don't know, man. When I see a card like this pop up in the last position, I'm just like, man, this is sort of saying, I mean, this kind of card just says it all. This kind of says move on. But I'd even say, look, you know, sometimes you just got to give sometimes it's just, you got to have some real space from the situation so that you can get your head and your heart clear. Because the reality is that when you're involved with someone, there's these other astral bridges at play that can cloud your judgment. And it doesn't help, you know. Oh, we've got a cup of tea here, but not forget that. So if you can't have a straight up conversation with your lady, you know, I'm not a relationship counselor or anything. I'm reading cards here, you know. But when I see a bunch of cards like this come up and it's relationship, there's a lot of gray here. There's not a lot of chirpiness and a lot of happiness. We've got gray, 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 and that's old, okay? And so you might be like, if you're feeling it, I would say honor that feeling. And it's hard because some people don't want to let go, but sometimes you just need to have some space. You know, you got to have some space, and that's all you need. It's just a bit of space. Let your head and your heart clear out a little bit. Go outside and just wash yourself out, you know, pour breathe, you know, skin breathe. If you do that, you know, breathe, just rinse yourself out. Sometimes I tell you what, I've been in relationships where I've really had to be quite firm because the other person, the lady in my life, was just like, she didn't want to let go, and it was just like, man, you know. But we went back and forth a few times, and it was just like, it was more, there was something else going on. But you know, once I really cut those cords, and a couple of times I had to be really firm, and it was very uncomfortable and a little bit unpleasant. But it had to be what happened, you know. So yeah, I mean, I feel for your brother. Well, presuming your brother Zohazin. So yeah, hopefully that was useful for you, my friend. And thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. But yeah, just be straight up with yourself, man. If you're not feeling it, if you guys have been at it for a bit and you're not feeling it, let's just get real about it, right? Yep, I've outgrown the relationship and I'm ready to move on now and grow. Yeah, that says it all, doesn't it? You know. All right, guys. I think, you know, if any of you are jumping in and you want a reading, just jump in the chat. Oh, baby. Oh, just read that, Zohar Zen. Yeah, I feel you. Oh, I feel that. Yeah, you know, if it's just not, if there's sometimes you, like, I see this a lot, you know, like I'm in my late 40s and I, you know, I am definitely not a relationship expert, not by any means. But what I've seen with a lot of my friends who've been in relationships is something that does every relationship really well is for the people to go and have some real time apart from each other. Because if it's meant to be, you guys will have some space, you'll let go, and then when you come back together, you'll be like, oh, that was so good, and I feel better about the situation, etc. Because I tell you what, sometimes you go away, and then you come back, and you're like, yeah, I'm not sure, you know, and the other person's like, oh, I couldn't. But I think if you can be with someone, I think there's a level of maturity when it comes to relationships, you know, like if people are clingy and need to be with you, you know, or they can't, you know, like I'm not saying that you're going to be standoffish or aloof about it, but you know, I think it's good. I've just found this good in life. Like I mean, I like the honeymoon period and the puppy love, the early phases of it. But essentially, what happens is like you're both adults, right? I mean, this video is not made for kids, so if you're under 18, this is not for you. So it shouldn't come up. But yeah, yeah, there we go. Collaboratively speaking, I think I think too that some relationships sometimes they're the precursor. Sometimes when you're involved with someone, like relationships can be a precursor to other things. Sometimes you have a bit of space, and then yeah. Although to be fair, like I haven't really remained friends with any of my ex-girlfriends, but I mean this is another one that pops up. It's like sometimes it's a working relationship. You know, you need a little bit of space between what has happened and what is to come. But I find that people who have some vision and some focus, there's an opportunity to sort of form something deeper there. But you know, there's almost like this is not, like I said, not relationship advice by any means, but it's like taking space, coming back together, having mutual interest. I think that's where a lot of it is too. It's like having shared values. That's the one thing I've seen a lot change with relationships and my friends and family over the years is that things, when the values become too contrasted, when there's a chasm between values, that's when things can get a little bit tricky, and some bridges you just can't cross with people, you know. So yeah, just being honest with yourself, it's probably the greatest gift you can give yourself and someone else too, you know, just being straight up and saying, hey, look, I've really enjoyed this, it's been great, but my heart's not in it. I think that's where it's at, you know. I've got to say I've walked away from some things in my younger days that maybe I could have tried a bit harder with, but I think that's probably one of the best tests of a relationship is like, even when things are going good, it's good just to have some time apart, you know. Oh, it's fallen over a bit. But yeah, just getting real about things with people. It can be tricky, you know. I don't know how old you are and all that, but just be kind to yourself, you know. And if you're in a relationship where you just feel constricted and it hurts and it's just not going anywhere, and sometimes it's good to, oh yeah. Oh man, this is the second time this has come up. Do what you need to do. All right. Oh, this one wants to say hi. This one again. This just popped out again. Maybe it's warm. I don't know. Oh, why would a card like that be popping out? What's coming up in the news? What's coming up? Oh my gosh, man, I tell you what, we're getting pentacles and we're getting wands. Getting pentacles, I'm getting wands here. All right, let's start off with this then. Okay. I get the feeling that there's something on the horizon. I think that there is something that's going to require courage coming up for us all. This is a collective reading, okay? This is not for anyone in the chat. It's for everybody. It's for everybody and anybody. When I get a primordial element card like this pop up, I stop and think, because this is the thing. This is not, this is less specific. This is like the base level. This is the blunt force that changes stuff for everybody. Okay, this is a base element. Okay. Yeah. I think that, and I was talking with someone about this today too, there's a real shift in the vibe. There's always, anytime you jump on a tarot channel or some kind of spiritual channel, someone's going to say, yeah, there's a shift in the vibe. I can feel the shift in the energy. The Shaman resonance is off the charts. That's every day and every few hours. But what I'll say is that when I see something like this pop up, I just want to say, man, you being able to focus, you being able to concentrate and be able to break through and push through uncomfortable scenarios to get to where you need to be, okay? Because the world seems to be serving things up for us right now that are testing our ability to sort of maintain our composure. And, you don't you don't just have a bag full of courage. You got to practice being courageous, and it's hardly ever comfortable. But if you know you're right, you know you're right. Okay, and I don't know what's coming around the corner. I get the feeling that we're getting pushed into some more of the weird, wacky stuff that we had a bunch of years ago, and that could be coming back around again. We may be getting another season of silliness at a whole nother level. But if you're wanting to develop a deeper aspect of yourself that's functional, honestly, learning to focus will allow you to pierce through the noise and get higher signal. One of the exercises you can do is you can sit in a chair like this, right? Sit in a straight back chair. Don't lean back. Sit up on the edge of the seat, feet flat. Pick a dot on the wall directly ahead of you at eye level, sort of thing on the wall. And just sit there and just adjust your posture. Tuck your chin in. Put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Breathe in and out your nose. And just focus on that. And put the timer on for about 2 minutes and just do that. And just focus on one thing. Because I tell you what, social media is crazy. Media in general is crazy. Give yourself the gift of focus. You will not be disappointed. The world is actively trying to shake you off your solid ground, okay, right now. Okay, when I'm talking about the world, I'm not talking about nature. I'm just talking about the everyone's being influenced by everything. And it's hard not to be influenced by that, just by being in proximity to it or hanging out with people that are maybe a bit destabilized or things like that. You being the calm in the storm, the cool, calm, collected person, that increases your personal currency. It's not about status. It's more about, like-minded people seek each other out. Now's a good time to start. Oh yeah, I'm feeling that. Allies, get some allies. What's coming up next? Oh, hey guys, difficult, but let's get into it. You're going to have to say goodbye to some stuff. I think that we're in an age of simplification because we're so oversaturated with complexity that now we are essentially, we kind of almost have this weird kind of duty to sort of, to ourselves, to just make life a bit more straightforward, and it may be unpleasant. Maybe we're going to have to say goodbye to some things. You've got to remember, we've got a couple of things here. That reminds me of that Two of Pentacles that came up before. Sometimes it's good to start with the one thing and then let that thing spawn a new thing. I did that with this channel. I've started up another I've got a few channels now, but pretty much, like the ability to simplify your life and learn to let go of things is a superpower. Because being trapped by an emotional state or being trapped by attachment, far out. People can have you with that, okay? You can find yourself in a disadvantaged position if you are unable to, let things go. I think that is worthwhile considering. All right, so something's coming. I can feel it, I think we can all feel it. Yeah, far out. I actually wonder if we're being called to live simpler lives. I think that the heart and the head have been so battered that we're all ready for something much more manageable. I wonder if this constant vigilance with digital devices that, we have to get the latest malware software or the latest protection, and every email could be a scam, or, any one of these things. Over time, this wears you down. And I mean, I'm seeing it when I talk to my friends around me. Like people are pulling back. I got a lot of friends who do social media stuff, and they're online like I'm doing now, or got their own way of doing it. But they're finding that they've just had enough. They're just burnt out. People aren't chasing the Mr. Beast dream anymore on YouTube, as far as I can tell. People are pulling back. There's a lot of creators on YouTube that have pulled out of the game, or they've minimized their participation in it, just because they're looking for a more meaningful existence in life. You can still be on here and maximize the opportunity that these platforms offer. I'm just talking about from my point of view. Now, this may be completely unique for yourself, but when like I don't know if you've noticed this, but here in New Zealand, our cost of living is going nuts, man. I mean, and speaking of nuts, my bag of peanuts went from like $2 to $2.50 in a day. And I know that's going up again. I mean, that's 50 cents. I mean, the 50 cents New Zealand is not a big lot when you compare it to US dollars or something like that. But what I'm saying is that I think it's a good time to just reflect, right? And just consider what's important and what's valuable. That's what I'm saying here. And just free up your spirit, free up your heart, free up your life. Don't be afraid to say no to opportunities as well. Because I tell you what, let's use another deck. Got my little gold bag here, my little bag of gold dust. I tell you what, I come across the most interesting things. Let's pull out the Thoth deck here. See if there's any. We'll get a little bit deeper on it. I get the feeling that if you're in the chat right now, this next card's for you. If you're watching, this card's for you. What have we got? Oh, something's not wanting to go back in the hole. There we go. Oh, so this just carries on from my last conversation. We have a new reality being birthed right now. It's not complete and it's not ready. But what it is absolutely happening. Now, we could talk about technology. We could talk about, anything to do with governments, and we could talk about the societal drift. We could talk about pop culture. We could talk about the big movie studios that are just not filling out, movie theaters. We could talk about Stargate getting cancelled by Amazon and the fans coming together to show their numbers. We could talk about people getting back to gardening. Where are you guys at? Like what's important to you? What do you think the new world could look like? What would you like to see more of? Personally, I'd like to see a lot more calmer people. I'd like to see less people looking at their phones and more people looking at the stars again and looking at the grass and the animals and things like that. And maybe just, because, we had cell phone and doom scrolling addiction. Now we've got, AI addiction and, all of this stuff. And this is part of the new reality that's being built, you know. What are we doing here? How can we play a role in improving the situation? That's a big one. That's a big one for me. I care a lot about things that are probably largely unhelpful and unnecessary. But you just can't help being yourself, right? We live in a time when most of the structures are built. We live in a time when we can, in fact, explore things that are meaningful to us in a real way, in a way that is deeply fulfilling. Okay. And, any of you guys that do dream work, you may notice that sometimes your dreams will present, I call it the dream poet. The dream poet will present you with something you're working on. It could be your job, it could be a hobby, it could be a new business venture, it could be anything. And it will represent it as a person. Maybe it's as a child you're looking after. Maybe it's as a friend you're looking after. Maybe it's as a relationship partner or a girlfriend or a husband or a family member you're looking after. But the amount of care that you put into something will reflect back. And I think another reason a card like this might pop up is like, especially with the uncertainty of the times we're in, which I think we have to sort of embrace the paradox a little bit. Yeah, nice one. I want to see more optimism in the future, people who have more hope for the future and more shadow integration and hope. Okay. I think yeah, great. I love that. Thank you, Zohazin. I think, you know, we can be the architects of what we wish to see in the world. Because I tell you what, if we sit around, stuff ain't going to happen. Some stuff falls out of the sky. But I tell you what, I tried that theory out. I tried a whole bunch of things out, you know, and things didn't happen. But when I started taking action in the world, things started to happen. But they had to be things that I cared about, because as soon as I got tangled up in things that I didn't care about, I felt like I was spending my life force on false interactions, essentially. And I think, when you get to a certain stage in your life, in your path, you've got to be straight up with yourself and go, you know what, I'm putting energy into stuff that's not really meaningful, or it conflicts, or it doesn't it doesn't align with my values, with my ethics, with my morals, my code of conduct. But picking meaningful things, this could be, honestly, you know this could be a beautiful opportunity. Every corner is a beautiful opportunity. This I think too, just being kind to yourself. I'll bring this up a fair bit. I've done a lot of Reiki videos and things, and we talk about that in the precepts. Being kind to yourself. You kind of got to love yourself so you can love others and all that type of thing, right? Just, my gosh, life's too short. Here we go. All right, we've got some nice cards now. This deck's busting out some nice cards. Here's the happiness card. Yay! Have a look. Isn't that? How does that make you feel? We've got 3 by 3. We've got 9 cups. Just abundant, beautiful, happy. Oh, I think one of you guys is going to get a parcel show up at the door that's going to make your day. I think you're going to get a surprise. I think Amazon, or what's the other one? or FedEx or something's going to drop you something tomorrow. It's going to be at your doorstep and it's going to be a surprise. And it's going to make you go, yay! Someone's thinking about you. Wouldn't that be nice? Or somebody might buy you a coffee. Somebody's going to ring you up tomorrow and say, hey, do you want to go for a coffee? I'll even shout you a donut. Oh, is it a gluten-free donut? It sure is, with sparkles on it. Yeah, this is good. This is a good one. I'm glad. Let's talk about this. Okay, let's pull another couple of cards for this one. Oh, man. Now we've got the lovers. So we've had love. We've had the happiness card. Now we've got the lovers. Someone's going to have a good day tomorrow. Or maybe it's today where you are. If you're in the UK or in Europe, your day's just starting pretty much. I think that this is going to work out really great. So you've got something coming your way. The only thing is when a card like this comes up, you're going to have two impossible choices. You're going to have to choose between two things, potentially. And both are going to make you go, oh, I want both of them. But reality is that you can't have both of them because there's not enough of you to go around. How do you know what to choose? Which one makes you happier? And which one is real happiness too? Yeah. Right. Oh, jeez. If you've signed in right now and you're watching this right now, this is great. I think that you're going to get a surprise, and it's going to be there's going to be some love. That it's just going to be really productive. It's going to be like this is either a person or a situation. I don't think it's a thing. I don't think it's picking. I don't think you're going to get presented with things to choose from. Like, do you want, what's behind door number 1 or door number 2? It's going to be more like, it's going to be a kind of a functional happiness. Yeah. It's going to be well worth your while. In fact, I would say that when we see a combination like this come up, it's actually going to be it could be all consuming. You got to be careful with a card like this when it pops up. It's like going, well, slosh around in it and enjoy it. But also, don't take the fun out of it by this is like a hobby you can turn into a job kind of spread. But just be careful because sometimes it can take the fun out of the thing that got you into it in the first place. But I would say looking at this, I would say that there is a person or a situation likely that's going to present itself. And there may be a couple of them actually, and you're going to have to make a choice. And you can't have both because you just can't. There's two space. There's only one space, and you can only occupy one or the other. Okay, so let's just say you're watching this live stream right now, and you're going, well, that does this feel like it resonates with me? Okay. Well, let's just say tomorrow when you get up, or if you're going out for a cup of tea or a coffee or a donut or something today, you're like, well, what would happen if I encountered a unique opportunity where I had to choose between two impossibly wonderful things, right? What would I choose? Well, sometimes it's not the what or the which. It's more like, well, what's important to me? And I think that's what this is pointing to. This is like, this is not just sort of fulfilling some emotional desire. This is more about something that goes the distance. Because choosing is so hard, right? Especially when you've got lots of wonderful things to choose from. What will you choose? And why will you choose that thing? What's this isn't purely utilitarian. In some cases, this is just something that lasts. All right. What's happening in the chat there? All right, let's do it. Let's do a bit of a dancer shuffle here. I can't do my riffle with this one very well. These cars are getting a bit old. They're not as slick and slippery as they used to be. They've got some wear and tear on them. All right, here we go. Let's see what comes up here. It's quite a cool effect, isn't it, when we've got the green screen flashing in and out with the stone floor, and then I move my hand and it reveals the cards. Ta-da! Oh, I'm a silly bugger. There we go. All right, here we go. Let's bring these around. If you're in the chat, why not pick a card? 1, 2, or 3. Jump in. It's only like $2, guys. Like it's $2 or something to join the membership here if you want to jump in. Pick a card. Meanwhile, I'll leave these out. If any of you guys want to jump in, I'll pull another deck out. 1, 2, or 3, guys. Pick a card. 1, 2, or 3. Here we go. Zohar Zen's keen. Good man. All right, let's have a look here. Number 2. All right, what do we got? Ooh, for your situation, this is even a little perfect. What you mentioned before, brother. You ready for this? Oh, man. This is the life a lot of us wish for as magicians and mystics and things. This is about spending some time by yourself. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. Sometimes that's what it takes to find your light again, to find your way. Especially if you've got a trajectory of maybe becoming a teacher or a wisdom sharer or someone who wants to help, whatever it is. Something like this is just saying, man, it's time to just pull back a little bit. I got to say, I get a lot of outreach from people. I deal with a lot of people throughout the day on all sorts of things. Man, sometimes I just got to disappear. That's what Mondays usually are. It's actually Monday today. I'm kind of working on a Monday, which I don't usually do, but I've kind of had my hermit section of the day, which is the main part of it. And I'm back into it tomorrow. But this one here for Brother Zohar is saying, maybe it's time to pull back a bit. Maybe it's time to just go out, pull yourself away, steal yourself away from the world. Go sit under a tree. Go for a long walk. Go climb a mountain. Turn your phone off. Find peace. Find that deep stillness. Especially if you're working through a breakup or something like that, you might just have to do that. If you're going to say goodbye to someone because it's not working out, I honestly, when I've had to do that, like my friends want to hang out and support me through a process and that's sometimes good as a distraction. But the reality is that, even if you even if you feel like you're over it, sometimes you just need to go out and, go away from the world and process it and just refocus. But yeah, just recognizing the value of the transitional aspect of this. I mean, and don't forget, this is a big deal. This is a major arcana card. This isn't the eight of cups. This is the hermit. This is significant on a life path. When this jumps out, this is I would say a significant moment on your timeline, on your chronology, and it's worth paying attention to. However realistic it is, well, you have to decide how much you lean into the kind of energy that this card offers and the kind of reality that you can pull forth. Because sometimes, it's not always easy just to pull yourself away from the world and go and hide, go and I'm not going to say hide. I'm going to say just create the space around you that you're looking for, or that you sort of feel drawn towards. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like this kind of card is like, this card's an absolute blessing. This is my archetype largely. Even though I'm online a bit, I still prefer, like I said, I get a lot of comments and I got a lot of messages and emails and things, but I'm happy to share and do things online and help the communities and that, but I really actually don't want to engage with a lot of conversation outside of the things that I do. Sure, I get clients and that for readings and for healing sessions and for students and that, but I actually really value my space and my time alone, and in fact, I'd like to set this up more. I'd like to go on another retreat soon, another hard retreat, and it'll take probably a week before I can really get into the deep stillness, because sometimes that's what it takes. But brother, there's a card right there, my friend. Take heed. Universe is saying something you can lean into here, something you can draw from. I trust that was of some value to you, sir. Do you feel resonance with that? That's always the question. That's kind of what I say to people, like, when you're hanging out and you see a card pulled. I don't really feel like this deck now. I think I'm going to move on to one of the other decks. All right, now I'm going to bust out another deck. Okay, this is my old deck. This is my old original deck. You can tell it's the old one because there's a thickness difference there. These are the same decks. They're both the same pattern. All right. Oh, here we go. I think loving your own company and getting used to that, such a wonderful part of life. Like I'm hoping that everyone gets the chance to discover the joy of the treasure of your own company, because it's such a pleasure, isn't it, really? Such a pleasure to be able to you do that. Get back to the drawing board, brother. Give yourself the space to discover what's important, And if you like working with archetypes, that can be a great way to just sort of transplant yourself out of a situation cleanly. And, because you basically, those other bridges that you've built to other things can't exist, or they just won't exist. Sometimes you've got to do a bit of chopping to move across, but yeah, it's a good way of looking at it if you can just sort of repurpose your life using archetypes. They're a great tool. They really are. And it's really great you brought that up, actually. It's very functional, All right, here we go. How's everyone doing out there? It's great to see you guys here. If you are enjoying this conversation and you would like to have a small reading there's a teensy weensy entry fee to the chat. It's minor. Like, click the button and have a look. It's a membership of like $2 or something like that. I actually put it up there. I actually don't mind doing the live streams like public. Problem is, you get a lot of funny people coming into the chat, and so I'm trying to build a nice little environment so that people, want to come hang out, where we don't just have sort of strange people rocking by and saying weird things in the chat, because that does happen a bit. I don't know. Have you ever been in a tarot live stream and seen all the weird stuff that pops up in the chat? I have. And I get lots of really lovely, nice people. So there's a tiny little barrier to entry into the chat, but you can have your card read, or cards. We'll see. Oh, there we go. Someone wants to say hi. Are you ready? Dun, 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 dun. Okay. If you're watching right now, I like to say that someone wants to hear something, or they want to see something, or this is for you. This is for someone. This is always for someone. And that, when a card like this pops up, I mean, if you have a look on the guy's face, he's looking like it's like another good name for this card is Hollow Victory. Okay, a victory nonetheless, but a hollow one. And this 5, whenever we see 5s rock up, it's halfway through the numerical sequence. It indicates a change, a destabilization, some kind of tension before change. And in this case, when I see this pop up, I'm thinking, if this one's setting the scene, let's do a 3-card reading here and go, oh, will that work? Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, if this one's setting the scene, then this is also, in a sense, this can be about letting stuff go. And this can be like letting go of a situation, or just conceding defeat. Nobody likes that. Okay, it's all about how you frame it. It's not like, oh, I lost, my poor ego. This is not about the ego, because this is more about your intellect, and just I think sometimes you can feel that you can feel that you maybe you brought a knife to a gunfight. Okay, it's not the best, but you are, maybe you weren't up for the job. You'll come back a bit later. Okay, and that's what I'm getting from this in this situation. Oh man. Okay, let's just bring in the masculine energy here. So this is about get good. This one here is saying lift your game. Where you're at right now. Are you feeling like you've got enough? This one here is saying focus, get done what needs to be done. Don't let yourself go through the process. Don't show up without what you need to succeed. Okay? And it's not about your ego, I think, in this case. I think this is what it is that there's something that you want, and you didn't bring, you didn't have enough last time to achieve it. And this one's saying, especially being a major, we're not just talking about any old fire element here. We're talking about the primordial masculine, in a sense, and that this guy gets stuff done. Okay, this might be, if we want to compare it, maybe like a 2 of Wands, we could bring that in. A little bit of 9 of Wands as well in the context of this here, but this is about doing what needs to be done. And then in the last stage, yeah, okay, well, I was pretty close there. There we go. Here's a 3 of Wands. So I think when we're looking at this, we're planning ahead. So we didn't succeed the first time. We've gone back to do a Rocky Balboa montage. We've gone out into train. This is the training card. Get done what needs to be done. And now we're like looking at how we spend our energy this time. You know, we're thinking about why we're doing stuff. All right? Why we're doing the thing in the first place. Because once you think about the why, then you start to make decisions differently for the future. And this is always a valuable exercise because you could be spending your life force on things that are just, you know, how much do you need? You know, how much do you like to see delight and transformation and surprise and wonder in the eyes and the postures of others? You know, what really brings you to life? You know, when I'm doing healing sessions, people on the table, you know, maybe they don't get an incredible outcome on the table. Sometimes they do. I got to say, it's never a boring one, that one. Sometimes it's later in the day. Sometimes it's the next day. But when they get hold of you and they say, hey, that something changed. I haven't got the thing anymore. I've had it for weeks, months, maybe even years, and now it's gone and it doesn't make any sense. But my life is so much better. Thank you. It's like, wow, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Or you're just sitting talking with someone. Look, if there's something you want to affect, somehow you want to affect change in the world, and you didn't manage to achieve it last time, get back to the gym, go back and learn, use the tools. Okay, all the tools are available now. Check it out. Oh, you can't see it, it's not backwards. All the tools are available. You can affect change at a level like you've never had the opportunity to do before. You can share knowledge. I would say one of the best skills you can learn nowadays is that if that Hierophant was in this mix, I'd be saying, look, you know, learning to articulate yourself in a real world sense, you know, become less esoteric, more exoteric. The world doesn't need more cryptic wisdom, guys. You know, that's like, oh, you know, it tickles the brain a little bit. But I tell you, you know, I hang out in circles where there's lots of cryptic esoteric stuff, but I just keep coming back to this. How is this useful to the village? How can I bring back some wisdom to the village? Because what are we building here on Earth? You know, I mean, you don't have to, but I can't help it really because I'm kind of wired this way, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, the best way to do stuff with all these tools that I've got. And my gosh, we have some tools right now, don't we? Oh, here we go. Someone wants to say hi. Ha 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 ha. So we had the pentacles at the very beginning of the stream. Then we had a wand. Now we have another primordial element. We have the water element. Oh my gosh. Okay. So like I said, when I see basically what we might call one of the mother letters or or one of the primordials, one of the blunt forces come through, it tells me that this is collective. This is definitely collective. I think this one sings to being social, engaging in community, meaningful community though. I think that's always one that pops up, you know, like finding your tribe. You know, the world is becoming just far too polarized. And something that's, you know, becoming more obvious to me even just through watching how YouTube and social media works, is people are gathering around the fires with the people that they want, that they want to hang out with. Those of you who are regulars on this channel, and will know that I've got a live stream a Hermetic roundtable that I host every so often, and we've got a nice bunch of people that come on there, and it's very cool, just good people catching up, talking about something they care about, trying to help people out. All right, let's see what happens next. Are you ready? Dun, dun, dun. Oh my gosh. So if this is the why, then this is the when. And the when is get to it. Go find some people. Go find those people that you can wallow with in your magnificent obsession. Because I tell you what, there's nothing more fun than doing something you love with other people who are into it as much as you. All right. Oh my gosh. This is extremely supported. We have the water element, fire element, the water and the fire. So funny. And then we have the world card. We have a major arcana card in this mix here. How stunning. There is this incredible opportunity waiting for someone to work with a group of people to make a really impactful, positively impactful thing here. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes groups get together, they make a thing, and then it doesn't work out after that. That's fine. There's a season for everything. And this definitely is a card about seasons. But I think what it is that if you're sitting on the fence about something, just get on with it. Make a choice. Get off the fence. I think that one of the dangers of this kind of card here is that you can ruminate on feelings rather than taking action. This is not an action card. This is like a desire, like it's not the spark. It's a desire, but this is taking the action because we've got a water, then a fire, and then we've got this sort of encapsulation of all of creation, or all of reality, or the universe, if you will. This card can be seen a bunch of different ways, but like I said, if you're sitting on the fence right now, get off the fence. Become a member. You can have a card read. Maybe you can get 2 cards or 3 cards. What do you want? What are you doing? We're just hanging out here. I'm just happy to sit here and talk. Oh, here we go. A couple of cards have jumped out. Let's have a look. Yeah, cool. All right. Once again, we have our 5 of Cups, which is like, this is about getting real about what's not working, just letting stuff go. Things have fallen over. Things have they're just not working. Look at your life, right? And you go, man, I put a lot of time into that and it just didn't work. And you might be like, I think when the desire gets sucked out of something that you originally really cared about, you might have put a lot of work into something and then it ended up becoming something else that you didn't want. It's happened to me. I frequently pivot because I've built structures and I can see the potential. But sometimes I have to say goodbye to some things because that season is over, and that's hard because You want that thing to carry on. You want that part of your life to carry on. But here's the great news. Making space in your life and saying goodbye to things means that you can have new things. That it opens it up for new things. It could be even greater than what you initially experienced. And I tell you what, that is so wonderful. Look at this guy. He's got his heart in his hands. Horse is a bit dubious. The horse is like, hey man, do you know where you're going? This guy's like, just want to follow my heart. I'm using my cup. My cup is full and I'm going to follow it. So when we have the cups, so basically it's this guy. He's got a couple of cups left. He's picked one and he's just going to let that lead him. How beautiful. That's so beautiful. Let's pull another one. Oh, okay. It looks like the reading's going into water now. This is the water section of the live stream hangout. We started off with pentacles. It was very pentacles heavy. And then we started getting into some swords and a little bit of fire, but now we're getting into cups. So it hasn't been a hardcore swords or a hardcore, what you might call fire. We did have an element of fire, the Ace of Wands, but you know, when we look at a series of cards like this, we have a 5, we have the Knight, which is essentially the fire of the water element. And then we have this one here. So if this one here is about just recognizing that some things didn't work out and being okay with that. And then this one here is about just picking one of those things that's left. You've got a couple of those things left. Oh, hang on, where are we? There's a couple of cups left here. These other ones they're gone askew. He's picked one. And now you're looking for something meaningful. You're prepared to go a little bit further. You've left the horse behind and gone, the horse can get me there faster, but it's getting me to nowhere faster. Sometimes it's good just to leave everything behind and go and make space for new meaning to arise. That is absolutely beautiful. Oh, wow, Zohar Zen. My gosh, that's a very generous donation, or super chat, I should say. I don't know if I can bring this up on the screen. Thank you, brother. Let's have a look here. Well, for something like that, let's give you a good deep reading, all right? So I'm going to do a full Celtic cross spread for you, sir. Will I be favorable in my college degree? How to be the most successful and best, highest version of my true, authentic self. Thanks, Phil. Man, you are the best. Oh, bro, that's really kind. Thank you. This is so much fun to hang out. Welcome to my little Oracle laboratory. Okay, I tell you what. Let's go here. I'm gonna use this deck here. This is the deck. This is the fresh deck. So a friend of mine found this in an op shop. It was a brand new Rider-Waite deck, and it is this incredible deck. It's just so beautiful. It speaks. It's got a different voice, like my old deck, the same one. That one's a bit more conservative. This one here is a little bit more, I'm not going to say liberal. This one's a little bit feistier and got a little bit more energy to it. So Zohar Zen, you're talking about your college degree, how to be most successful and best, highest version of yourself. All right. Okay. All right. Let's have a look here. All right. So college degree, eh? That's no small thing. That's a financial time. You know, there's a lot of opportunity cost in investing into your future, you could have run away with the circus. Could have done this, that, the other thing, but you chose that, and that's awesome. Ooh. All right, I'm just going to do the reading. You might not be able to see it, but I'm going to do the reading. That's a shame. It has to be all the way there. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, the Hermit. Oh, okay. In the cross position, we've got the Hermit. So this is like, you've got all these choices. What are you chasing, right? And then you've got this guy going, stop chasing stuff. I like to laugh during these things because sometimes it's like, can't be too serious about life, guys. Oh, got a tower card in the base spot. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. Aha. Ooh. Okay. There's something being painted here, Zohar Zen. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So we've got 3 major arcanas. All right. We'll leave that one card unturned till we get to it. So I'm gonna just tell you what cards we got here. I'm just gonna have a look at it for a sec, Zohar. There's a conflict that I'm seeing here. There's an internal conflict. I'm seeing that there is, now I'm just going to tell you what I see here, okay? So essentially, I kind of see that there's two cards in a position here that are complementary to each other. So we have these 2 cards which are really about peacefulness, and they're in positions of almost being a distraction. And in the previous position, we have the High Priestess, which is actually really lovely, with a name like Zohar Zen. Okay, and I've seen some of your other comments. I'm guessing, you're into esoterics. So, and there's a couple of swords here. I'm going to say that what I can see just off the top of my head is that there's a request. There's a bit of back. There's a desire. I feel like I don't know what you're studying, but it's almost like there's a desire to have more peace that you're not quite honoring, and there's a part of your deeper self that's going to keep pushing stuff, like but yeah, I think if you're at college and you're studying, I get the feeling that you're sort of looking at this, that you're being encouraged to start building structure, like prudent structure. Because we've got the 10 of Pentacles in the future position. Okay. And so when I see that one there, I'm like going, okay, that's a focal point. When I see the Tower underneath, like I'm like going, wow, like, and then the like, because the head of the dove and the tail of the dove being the cross here, you've left some things behind. You are and because we started with the Seven of Cups, there's this kind of thing of like you have I think that there's a life experience. It's just saying, I kind of get the feeling you just got to go and do it. But consider building valuable structures, like, you know, wherever, if you're, I'm going to make a guess and say if you're at college, maybe you're in your 20s, just at a guess, or, somewhere in your 20s. Um, this is saying start to develop the prudence and the structures. Like, if you're into partying, this is not a party card that says go party. This is not a reading that says go party. This is a card about, like, if you've entered onto some kind of path, then you are going to oh wow, okay, you're actually studying that at college. Okay. With that context, I would say that, you're setting yourself up for, I mean, look, you know, there's not a lot of cash in esoterics, let's be fair. Um, Unless you choose something and drill down on it. Philosophy doesn't pay. Information and knowledge can pay. Teaching pays. I'm only saying pays because, on one hand, in the future, I see this here, and on the other hand, I see this guy here down the bottom, which is your relationship to the situation. What it's doing is like, is this something you're wanting to sort of become career oriented with? Are you wanting to write books, become an author? Are you wanting to do more? Are you looking at, if 26, well, that's a cool age. I think I had just about quit my corporate job and was about to embark out on being a musician at that age. I'd sort of had enough of my corporate and I wanted to go and explore more of what I wanted to do, which could be something related. I don't know. If you're 24, it's 26 and studying esoterica in college. I kind of get the feeling you're following a thread of interest here. And I also get the feeling that, especially with this Five of Cups in the tail, like, and there's the Hermit and the Four. There's almost like this kind of you've started out on a path that's very meaningful to you, yeah. But I'm seeing sacrifice cards here, and there's going to be forced sacrifice, because when it starts off with the Seven of Cups, it's like going, if you have a look here, right? So if you look at the set, if I need to get a cloth or something underneath this table. All right, check this out. So it starts off with this, where you go, wow, look at all these cool things I've got to choose from and play with. Problem is, you can't take all of them with you. You're going to have to choose, and you'll find out. And like when we've got the Tower, and this is all coming together nicely. When we've got the Tower here, the Tower's going to choose for you. So it's just going to rip some of those things to bits. Some of those things are just not going to be there anymore. They're just not going to be accessible. But the good, like I said, the good thing is for me in this reading is that when I see the Ten of Pentacles, and the Tower is not a bad card. It's just like, it's like God saying, don't get too comfy. Um, there's bigger. You're here to fry bigger fish, and because we've got the priestess in the background and the behind set and the thing, it's like you've already got some underlying skills, and the hermit in the background is also saying, like, you're here to honor a path, and that's why you're studying this stuff. I think, like anyone, when you start out on this path, there's going to be sacrifices that have to be made. And one thing I found on this path is it's very humbling, and I think that's why, something like this might be popping up as well. But, if you're at college, you know, Yeah, so anyway, now, okay, so let's just look at the serpent. So we've had a look at the dove. Now we'll bring the rest of the thing in, and we've still got one card to flip as well. So we've got the Seven of Swords in the Seven of Swords. Okay, let me just check that quickly. We've got the Seven of Swords in the external influence position, which is like, it's kind of like there's the world's always going to have expectations, and sometimes you are carrying out those expectations because of school, parents, etc., people you care about, nudging you in a certain direction. I kind of look at this and I'm seeing it's a very grounded reading from the point of ascension on the serpent path here, moving up. And it's like, whatever you're doing right now, whatever you're investing yourself in, start researching best practices for building the structures you need to support you in life. It looks like here, yeah, let's just flip this last card. Ooh, okay. Page of Swords. This is, and please don't, I'm just going to say what I'm seeing here, but there's a lot of swords in the final part here. And when I see the Page of Swords at the end there, I see a bright spark, a mind that is being sharpened, an intellect that has great opportunity, but it's about how you swing it. It's about how you swing that sword. I mean, let's have a look at this. You can't see the tip of the sword, and he's looking away from it, right? What I'm seeing here is just quickly, if we talk about the college degree, I would say that it's going to give you the space, the time, and the access to the library and the resources and the course materials that are going to give you a curated learning experience. But it's not necessarily going to mature you in your relationship to how this information is embodied within. And there is a conflict between the future and the present. So the future is this Ten of Pentacles, and the present is this kind of card of worry, or this it's not a happy looking card. These two aren't doing too well. They're in the snow. Okay, and it's a Pentacles card, so it's generally got to do with resources and systems and materials and things like that. And when I look at what's in the worries, concerns, situations, and we see the Four of Swords there, and I got we've got the Hermit, and we've got the Four of Swords, and the Priestess in the past. I would say that this is really encouraging you to give yourself some solid foundations for the future, especially that Ten of Pentacles in the future. So as far as an advice that I can give within the scope of what I can offer here on YouTube, because remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. When we've got the Ten of Pentacles in the future, and then the last card is this one here, let's put a couple of clarifiers on that page. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. For the page, that's like meaningful, meaningful certainty. Okay. Give yourself the gift of solid ground to stand on. Like, I don't know what your personal situation is. Maybe you're a student living in a flat. Maybe you're in a dorm. Maybe you are this, that, and the other thing. Maybe, for all I know, you got rich parents and you've got a Lamborghini. Whatever your situation is, there's a value in determining the deep why of
what you're doing. Why are you doing what you're doing? It's really asking you to contemplate this, especially that Four of Swords, um, because that's going to help to position yourself as far as the learning experience goes. Because if we're just talking about the college degree, then yeah. So I would say that there's two questions there, and I'm happy to do another reading for that second thing about, living your best life. But as far as the learning pathway goes, start thinking about how this is going to be something you can meaningfully deploy into the world. Because if you're prepared to put yourself through a college degree for something esoteric, then you obviously are very much into this, and you're probably doing a lot of things as well. Um, you know, but there's a grounding, a valuable grounding in that Ten of Pentacles, which is saying, you know, yeah, I think there's a delicate balance here. I'm surprised there's not a two in here somewhere, but there's a maturity pathway that's going to flower over the course of this learning experience that you're going to have, that you're having, and it's going to help you to make decisions about what you do. Are you studying graphic design? Well, that's okay, cool as. All right. So that's going to pay off well. Okay. Okay. There's a lot. There's a lot of extra information there that was sort of driving that. Okay. Maturity pathway. I think you've got the world. I think you've really got your life ahead of you. All right. Let's do another reading on your authentic self, because I think as far as the learning pathway goes, will I be favorable in my college degree? I think so. I mean, if you've got an interest in esoteric art, you got to remember too that, there's, I mean, positioning things in a certain way, using studying sacred geometry and, the psychology of how imagery affects us at a deep level subconsciously with archetypes and all that kind of thing. You can make good change in the world, you know, if you find, the right people to work with. Oh, here we go. So we've gone from the Page of Wands, Page of Swords, to the Queen of Swords. This is about your authentic self. We'll do a quick reading on this one. Oh, another feminine card. Oh, major arcanas, major arcanas. Oh, major arcanas. Yeah, okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major arcanas. Hmm. This one sings a little bit to that last reading. You've got a fire in you that's leading you in a certain direction. Don't get too serious, but be disciplined. Be mindful of delusion. At the core of your being, there is a sense of doing what's right, honoring the cause and effect. There is, I've got the Queen of Cups and the Moon here, and then the Star card in the sort of the less favorable position, which is like, because of the Moon card, especially in the tail of the dove. The tail of the dove is the rudder. You're sort of moving away, like it's also rising to consciousness. This one is really just being mindful of delusion and just ground things. Like, I'm surprised there's no pentacles in this, but we've got lots of majors here. So as far as a life path reading goes, this is, very, very apt because of the number of major arcana cards. So what I'm seeing here, Zohazen, is that, you have, there's some big numbers in here, like that temperance card at the very end of the reading just says you're in the early stages of mixing your perfect life. You've got energy. You've got there's a personality thing here that's coming up too. I think there's almost like a there's an external push for you to sort of like develop some kind of character that maybe you haven't got yet. You've got a personality that's slowly emerging. But yeah, it's saying, yeah, don't be too serious, but be disciplined. Yeah, with the world in the behind section, it's kind of saying it's weird. It's like there's like a letting go, but there's also like, I think it's, if you're studying esoteric art, like even looking at that stuff will change you. A lot of that stuff, a lot of those images and those things are designed, like even if you look at tarot cards, that's gonna have an effect, right? So as far as the best, highest version of my true authentic self, what I'm saying is that if I was going to give you some bullet points for you to, as journaling prompts, so like these are prompts that you would start writing about. So you would like write these bullet points down, and then you would go, okay, I'm going to pick one, and now I'm going to start writing about it. I would say that be wary of delusion. That is a big one that's coming up in this one. There's a feminine energy in the background. I'm not talking about female energy for anyone out there who's thinks I'm being misogynistic. This is a whole other thing, because guys have got the feminine and girls have got the masculine as well. Yin yang, peeps, yin yang. There's a comfort in delusion. And with that Queen of Swords kicking things off, and we had the High Priestess in the last reading, and the Page of Swords. The Queen of Swords, in this case, is about you receiving intuitions to guide you on your path. The star in the worries, fears, and concerns is that, it's actually basically, it's reminiscent of your question. You are concerned. You want to live a full, happy life, or a full, authentic life. I would say just relax back on that a little bit. Be disciplined, because it's the discipline that you will find the freedom you're looking for. Okay. And just relax. Just do those muscle tension things, like grip your fist, tense your muscles in your neck and your head and your arms and your chest and your back and then your legs, your thighs, your calves and everything, and then just relax and let yourself sink down. Lift your shoulders up, shrug them down. If you get tension, anyone who's watching right now, if you're suffering from any kind of tension, just get comfy on the chair or on the sofa. Just do a bit of muscle relaxation. But yeah, sorry, the bullet points: be wary of delusion. Discipline, not seriousness. Because you can be disciplined and still be relaxed. In fact, it's really great that this one made a show. This is about you relaxing. Okay. And this is about, this is almost like about exposing yourself to things that make you relax, like watching funny movies, or just relaxing, doing enjoyable things with friends, or just doing nothing, just sitting around playing with a tarot deck even. But yeah, be mindful of becoming too serious. It's that, like, the emperor's in the future there. He's got a serious look on his face, but you don't have to absorb that completely. But what we've got here in the head of the dove is we've got the Justice card. And I think that, when it comes to esoteric studies, this is the one thing that esoteric studies does very well, is that you can focus on lawfulness. Okay. Knowing that, laws of karma are something that we tend to embody in the world if we're studying esoterica, or if we're embodying that worldview. So this will serve you well. Okay. Seek to make, to honor everyone's right to existence. That's a good one. But yeah, I think if we look at the bottom here, you've got a fireball of energy here. Like you want to deploy yourself, you want to study, you've got a fire that's ready to go, and that's really cool. Go you, go get him, tiger, go get him. All right. And if each one of these, if this is the base and this is the power, and then each one of the ones above it is a lens, this is saying you need to go and make a whole bunch of mistakes and not be afraid to make those mistakes, essentially. You know, it's really a case of just exploring and trying things out. And this is the job of life. So yeah, it's actually a pretty standard read, Zohar Zen, you know, but you know, personalized for you. With the moon card at the top there, and there's a bit of a juxtaposition with the Emperor card and then the Justice card. You're going to have some challenging situations presented to you, but just observe lawfulness and be mindful of delusion. In fact, I'm surprised there's no Pentacles cards here, grounding cards. But yeah, these are big players. You've got a lot of majors here, and yeah, I mean, with the star in that position, with the moon where it is, and where the Queen of Cups is, yeah, it's just keep stock and you know, take stock of yourself and your situation, and don't be afraid to be a little to confront yourself about things too, like, you know. But yeah, those bullet points, man. Be wary of delusion. Be disciplined, not too serious. Operate lawfully, and just keep trying stuff. Just keep trying stuff. That's our temperance card in the future there, you know. And don't be, yeah, good, cool. Sorry, I do repeat myself a little bit because I want to make sure you get it because we're on a live stream here. So I don't want to say it once and then, where are you going? You know, but yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, I would say have a chew on this, you know, like, especially that the one card that really stands out for me is it's in position 9 of the 10 card Celtic cross reading, the classic Celtic cross. You've got the star in position 9. And I think that would be the one. I would be just researching that a little bit for yourself. Yeah. And we'll probably just leave it there because I think that's heaps, man. It probably doesn't really need to go much further than that. Oh, and with the world in the past position, I would say that, and considering we had the Ten of Pentacles, yeah. So with the night with the star, what you want to do is, I see a message there. You want to mate, you could even throw this into Chat GPT or something. Just say in position 10, position 9, so the ninth, you know, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in the ninth card position. You know, what might the star represent? You know, I can give you my take on it, which is complementary to the Queen of Cups and the Moon card, because the star card can represent, you know, hopes, because it's funny, because another way to look at that position is the hopes and fears. And the star card is definitely, you know, after the tower, you know, we get the star, and it's yeah, I think that would be a good one for you to research on the side. Would be the star card in the 9th position of the Celtic cross spread, the 10 card Celtic cross spread. It's basically the second to last card, because there's 2 angles to that card in that position. as a hope, it's basically inferring that, you know, there's there's unique opportunity ahead. But in the fears section, it's also like going, well, am I leaning too much on the need for hope? Yeah, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I'm not. I'm mindful of dipping too much into esoteric knowledge when I'm doing intuitive readings. I sort of just pull on it when it seems appropriate. But yeah, I mean, like whatever associations you might sort of apply to them, that's all good, and you definitely want to consider that. But I'd also be like, I'd just be exploring that. Just spend some time learning about the ninth position of the Celtic cross spread and the star, the 10 card Celtic cross spread, because there's some significance and some relevance there that's quite key for you. All right, with that said, thank you so much. I trust that was of some value to you, sir. And thank you very much for the super chat. Very cool. All right. Okay, with that, guys, I'm going to disappear shortly unless somebody jumps in and says, hey, Phil, I'd love to get a reading. And even if nobody does, let's pull one more card. Are you ready for this? Don't take your life too seriously. Serious things are going to happen, whether you want them to or not. You can, in fact, have a easygoing and relaxed frame of mind as much as possible that will carry you, and being a little more carefree than the vigilance that you may feel is being expected of you from the outside world. Breathe into, like if you've got a tarot deck or you've got this image, it's a good one to have on your phone. This can help to just make your worries go away and help you relax. Breathing into an image like this can help recalibrate certain crystallizations and calcifications of your consciousness. And just help you to open up and relax a little bit. Drop a few unnecessary cares that may be occupying. Have a beautiful, wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I am so grateful that you've joined with me here today. And please consider subscribing. You'll get the updates for when I'm doing my next live streams. They're usually around about this time of the day. I do them for about 90 minutes to 2 hours. And yeah, if you like this style of reading, it's a very small amount to enter into the live chat. There's a couple of membership tiers, and you can have your questions answered, and we can just talk some things out. Super chats options are there as well if you don't want to become a member. Up to you. But yeah, I like my chat nice and clean, thanks. And that tiny little paywall helps to maintain that. Thank you to everyone that's hung out. I see a couple of you have been hanging out for a good session there. I want to say thank you to everyone. Just have a quick check of the chat. Oh, you're too kind, Zohazen. Thank you, brother. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your generosity and your feedback. Everyone, you be kind to yourselves, eh? Life's good. Try to seek out that. Try to find the best parts of life, because you get the spotlight shone on some of the worst parts, and that's you don't need that much of that stuff. Tai Chi. Oh yeah, do the Tai Chi, bro. That's where it's at. Take care of yourselves. I appreciate you all. Go well, walk well, and yeah, be kind to yourselves.